Alrighty. Guys, if you could ever believe, I literally recorded my live video 2 hours ago. If you on my community tab, you saw that I had a post that I was gonna go live 6:30, which I did. And while my video was being processing, I realized that only the first 44 seconds of my video was uploaded. Imagine I sat there and I talked for 35 minutes only to have the 44 seconds being recorded. But anyway, the show must go on. I'm a little bit furious, but the show must go on. So let's just get back into it and let me just talk about what I talked about. All right. So, welcome to my live. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been a loyal subscriber, thanks for tuning in. But let me tell you who this live is for and to let you know if you're in the right place. All right. So if you're building a business from scratch, if you're feeling overwhelmed or wondering if anyone else is doing it without investors, without social media following, or a team, you're in the right place. This video is absolutely for you. So I'm going to be opening up and talking about the real, raw truth about entrepreneurship, watching my dad go through it for the past 30 years. And I'm going to be sharing 30 powerful tips that I've learned seeing my dad building his business and things that I have implemented and things that I will continue to implement along my journey. But before I dive in, hit the like button if you're all about entrepreneurs. If you want to just hear and figure out how to grow your business, hit the like button and drop a ready in the chat to let me know that you're ready to get this started. You're ready to hear what's gonna come. All right. So as I said, this conversation is gonna be real honest. It's gonna be raw, in depth. If my camera is jumping a little bit, I recorded the video earlier in a very different position that was way more sturdy and functional for a video. But my because I have to re-record the video and it's currently nighttime, the lighting is not that great there anymore. So I kind of just have to come on my bed. As you can see, I'm on my bed. And so every move I make, the camera is kind of shaky. So hopefully that's not too distracting, but I hope that you can focus on the content that I'm delivering and let that just not be too important right now. All right. So let me just give a little backstory. My dad has been running this business for over 30 years, right? He did it without social media, no Instagram page, no YouTube, nothing, none of that, right? Um, and just all the things that we think we need to start a business today, which he did not have any of, and he's been in business for plus 30 years. Of course, he's not Elon Musk or any of those other established person, but he's my dad and he's very established because that's my first real business experience, and I've been literally in business for my whole life, literally in my real life, without even paying much attention to it. But one thing for sure, he had a very strong work ethic. He had good reputation and a deep belief in what he was doing. And I feel like with those three things, you can't go wrong. But you definitely have to believe in what you're doing. It makes no sense for you to be putting in all this effort and work if you really don't believe that what you're doing is meaningful and it can actually be beneficial to whoever is listening to you, right? All right. So, like I said, I really did not realize that I was at front row seat to entrepreneurship. I wasn't looking at it like that. I was just like, oh, my dad as an entrepreneur, he's just doing business. Right. But funny enough, that's really what inspired my journey with Amore Bookkeeping because I've seen my dad struggle. I've seen him through all different stages. And I've just always thought to myself, like, is there something that I could do to just make his business more successful? That was my initial question. It's just after coming out into the world and being immersed in the world of entrepreneurship and business, when I'm like, okay, is there something that I can do to help other business owners be successful in their business? If there is something I do want to know. And because I if you watch my last live, I talked about my entire journey to deciding that I was going to study accounting in school and ultimately to decide to start to start this business. I wanted to be able to help people understand their businesses and also to help them grow it. And I just thought that if I understood the money, which is the foundation of every single business, let me know in the comment which business you know that does not revolve around money. I don't think nobody can type in that because they all do. And what would be the point if they didn't, right? And so I wanted to be able to understand the money so I could literally, because once I see the trail and I can understand the story that's happening with the money, I can paint a different picture as to what's going on and what should be done, etc., to get to the next level. All right. So that's why I started in bookkeeping. It's really something that I'm very passionate about, and really passionate about it because it's stemming from seeing my dad firsthand, and I just want to extend that to him first, but also to myself and to any other business owner who I can support. Right. So if you're building something that means something to you, drop legacy in the chat right now. Let me see what all the builders. What are you guys building? Just drop something in the chat so we can connect. And I do want to point out, obviously, you started this business to make money. And of course, I also started to make money. But it's not just about money for me. It's for me, it's important to build something that matters. Like, why is this important to you outside of the fact that you want a paycheck? I think understanding the meaning behind that helps, sorry, helps me to show up every single day, even on days when I don't want to do it. Just like, for example, like I said, I started this live, did the live 2 hours ago. I was processing the video and scheduling it out, and I realized that only the first 44 seconds of my life is showing. And I literally sat there, talk. My throat is so dry and it's not help. And because I do believe in what I'm saying and I think it has value and can be helpful to you guys, I decided that, you know what, even though I don't feel like redoing this one life that I've just been talking about for so long, I'm still going to do it anyway. And that is the reason why you have to be doing something that matters, because when in the hard times, that's going to be the thing that carries you through, right? All right. So let me get into these third lessons, and you're gonna want to stay until the end, because at the very end of this video, I am going to be sharing the best advice I've ever gotten from my dad that has really, really shaped my perspective on business. Like, and just a story, also just an experience with him that taught me that your business should never rely on you solely, especially when you're trying to get to that level where you're building legacy and so forth. So feel free to grab a notebook or screenshot one of these tips that is with the artist, but let's get into it. Okay, so I'm kind of going to just break these down into different sections so that it's easier to follow, so that you guys can understand the holistic manner, not just about the business aspect, but the business owner as well. So I'm going to start with some foundational lessons. All right. So this first one is showing up even when no one claps. I kind of see this concept floating around on social media, different versions of it, where they're talking about um, anything you do in private comes out in public. If you read a lot, it's going to show up in the way you express yourself, the way you communicate, because you put in a lot of reps. You're practicing, right? Even though nobody's there seeing that you're reading, you're probably in your room by yourself. Nobody's really checking you out, but you're putting in the work that is going to show up outside, because you're going to be able to speak confidently. All of that, and it's so essential that you do think you feed yourself, because when you feed yourself, you're going to be able to pour into your business. You cannot pour into the business what's not in you. And so it's important for you to pour into yourself when nobody's watching, and show up, posting on social media if that's something that you're doing for your business, reaching out to a client, whatever it is. When there's nobody through that art part, showing up, it does matter. It does matter. So you don't have to be, waiting for somebody to applaud you every single step of the way. Even if there's nobody there, you're doing what needs to be done. All right, number 2, reputation is currency. Protect it. When you're just starting a business, nobody knows your name for the most part, unless you are the daughter or son of a billionaire or public figure, somebody that's well known. Nobody knows your name, right? So when you're building up your reputation, what you build your business on is going to be the thing that is going to get people drawn to you. So you have to protect that at all costs. Of course, we know that I know that some things are outside of our control, and I'm not referring to those things, but as much as it depends on you, you have to make sure that you protect your reputation. That's an example of that could be not associating with certain things that go against the values that you want to say you're representing for your business. Number three, know your numbers, not just your dreams. Yes, the dream, I think, is legacy, financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom, however you want to put it. But you need to know every single major number for your business. You need to know the amount of money that you're giving out to your suppliers, the amount of money that you should be receiving from your customers, every bill amount, receipt amount. Nothing should be kept a secret. You should be able to know and follow these things, which is exactly why you most likely need to have a bookkeeper. The thing about it is, you didn't start your business to be an accountant. You started your business to be a business owner. And even if you are managing your books by yourself and maybe you're doing fine, but you're not an accountant, there's probably something you're missing anyway. And you need to get that fixed up. So having somebody knowing your numbers or having somebody to who understand the numbers communicate that to you is very essential for your business. All right, so number four, people buy you before they buy what you offer. You have to be an integrous person in general. You are the product before the product became the product. So you are the person. They always say that people like to do business with who they like, know, and trust, which means if I like you, I am more likely going to support you versus not a stranger who is approaching me to offer the same service. So you have to make sure that whoever you're showing up is somebody that is worth investing in so that when people do, you know, when you do offer your product, it's a no-brainer that people are going to support you because you showed up in a way that values that show them that you're a valuable person for them to want to support. All right, let your word mean something. It says if you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything. If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. So let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. If you promise to a particular experience to a customer, over deliver that experience. So you're not going to say you're going to be able to make them make $100,000 in profit, and at the end of the time that they're working with you, they only made $1,000 or they lost $100,000. People don't like that. Nobody wants to feel like they've been tricked into something and they have not gotten the results that they wanted. So make sure that when you're promising something, as they kind of put it, under promise and over deliver. All right. Number six, grind doesn't mean chaos. Structure matters. Structure matters in your finances, structure matters in your mindset. And best believe this, if your mind is not structured, it's going to show up in your business. Every single thing that's happening in the business, the chaos, the moving up and down, the disorganization, all that starts right here. Starts right here. So if this is not structured, if this is not organized and clear, everything that you produce will be chaotic. That's just a fact. I don't know if that's a fact for me. I don't know if it's a fact for you, but I think I've seen so many instances where it's been a fact. That's why I'm just generally saying that it's a fact. All right. Number seven, stay lean until growth forces you to scale. In other words, keep your expenses low. I touched on this in my last live. Keep your expenses low until you will necessarily have to take on something. You want to make sure that you have a very large profit margin when you're doing your business and not taking on unnecessary expenses. Because at the end of the day, it's just that you don't want to stifle the business. Why would you take on something that is going to keep pulling money out that is not a necessary expense? You want to be able to keep it until, when you're scaling, and unless it's reinvesting in the business, you have enough to scale it to the next level. So that's, as I said, I just share something at the end to emphasize this point, but so that it's not completely dependent on you. All right. Number eight, word of mouth is greater than any ad campaign. Like personally, if your friend is saying that they're going to this bistro to eat pizza, whatever, and all of you guys are trying to find somewhere to eat, and this person already went there, and you're checking in with them like, I need to get pizza. Where is the pizza in town? And this person said, it's at John Doe's Pizzeria Bistro. And you're like, okay, let's go to John Doe Bistro. So because that person who you like, know, and trust gave you that recommendation, you're gonna follow it down to the T. But one of you people are gonna be like, you know what, let's go somewhere else. But for the majority of the people, they're gonna go with what your friend suggests. And the opposite of that is also true. If they're like, do not go to John Doe's Pizza because I didn't like the customer service, I didn't like this and that and the fourth, y'all are not gonna want to go there. It's the same thing. So word of mouth is really like a big deal. I have seen my dad business just, it's basically all word of mouth. Even a former employer of mine, her business is word of mouth. There's no ad for her business. She don't even have a social media. Everything is word of mouth. So it's very important that you're offering quality service so that people can actually promote your business for you, just like that. All right, number 9, be the go-to, not the I do everything business. So I'm not gonna say niche because from my business, Amore Bookkeeping, I do not have a niche. I'm not gonna say I only work with restaurants or only work with property managers. Not, at least not in this stage of the business, right? I do have a certain criteria that I'm using to assess the clients that I work with. I like to work with people who are passionate, who are hardworking, who are very involved in their business, and somebody who has a deeper meaning. It's not just money for them, it's something that makes sense for them. They're doing it because they want to break generational curse, they want to be able to afford this for their children, etc. All of it is money, but it's not money first, it's purpose first, and the money comes with it because they are showing up consistently and doing what needs to be done. So when you're focusing on, what you're focusing on one thing at a time, that helps people to know that, okay, I can go to you for this type of information versus you're all over the place doing everything and not completing anything. So just focus on one thing at a time and just be that go-to person for that one thing until that business take off if you want to go do something else. All right, so this next one, number 10, rest. Burnout does not build empires. It really takes away from it more than build it. Like, trust me. I have seen my dad just work nonstop, no days off, always working, 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 working. And now, compared to now, when I see him, prioritizing rest, it really does make a difference because you think that, okay, I need to work myself down to shreds because I have these goals to accomplish. But the truth of the matter is, when you are working yourself down to shred like that, you're not really experiencing the level of creativity that you really need to get yourself to that level. You need that creativity. So you need the rest in order to be able to produce that. All right. So if any of these hit home, tap the like button or comment your favorite number below which one stood out to you the most. All right. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just move on to this next section, which is money and operations lessons. All right. Okay, this first one, your profit is not a dirty word. You started the business because you wanted to make money. All right, but obviously your revenue is not just your profits. Your revenue is all of the money that's coming in. Your profit is what's going to be left after. So don't feel like you don't want to say, okay, I'm making X amount of money, or this is the amount of profit that I am, or I want to make X amount of profit. It's not a dirty word. I don't know why it's being treated that way. All right, number 12. Don't hide from your books. Confront them. Sometimes when we do not have the financial capacity that we want, and we check our personal bank accounts, and we kind of just don't want to look in there because we don't want to face the fact that there's not a lot of money in there. But two, we don't want to see any unnecessary expenses coming out of that little money that we don't want to see in the first place. It's the same thing why I understand why business owners would hide away from their books, but do not hide. You need to be able to know exactly what's going on in your business because you really need to make sure that it's being managed on the level that's going to get you to the growth that you want to go to, right? And if you're avoiding it, that means you're not creating the level of stability that's needed. If you do want to go to a bank to get a loan, or you get an investor in the business, they are going to want to see your financial statements. How do you get financial statements if you're hiding from your books? It's not possible. So you have to face it, and then if you need help, you need to just call somebody in to help you with that area. All right. Number 13, budget like you're broke even when you're up. Not because your business start making more money means you need to take it out and spend it. And this also goes for your personal money outside of your business if you have a 9 to 5. Not because you start making more money means you should spend it. Somebody please write that down in the chat. Not because you start making more money means you need to spend more. I'm gonna just leave that right there because it ties perfectly into my next point, number 14. Expect slow seasons and plan for them. So if you have a product-based business, not every single day a customer is going to buy. There are gonna be days when you're not gonna sell anything, and or even a service. Yes, there are gonna be days when you're not gonna sell anything. So you have to make sure that on the days when you make enough, there it's enough to cover those days when you don't have enough because you're planning for it and you're not overspending and just spending at every little thing just because it's being sold to you. All right, number 15, maintain your tools, they reflect your discipline. If your car is what you use to sell, keep your car up. Go to the shop, maintain it. All that. If your mind is what you use to sell, keep your skills up. Educate yourself, learn something new, all of that. Don't let the things that you use to create your business fall apart. So when I say don't spend money just because you're making, I'm not saying being cheap and don't invest in yourself and back in your business. I'm just saying don't spend it on things that are not gonna contribute to your growth, but they're gonna be more likely draining you. All right, number 16, keep your clients by caring. Like you really need to be very genuinely interested into the people that you do business with. I'm not saying like you need to know every childhood memory, or I'm not saying that you need to know everything that's in your house. Clearly not, but I mean, be interested. At least have an idea. Why did they start this business? Why is it important to them? What makes them resonate with you? What made them connect with you? Like why you chose me out of everybody else that you could be doing your business with? Because best believe everybody have a choice and they did not have to choose you. They didn't. So at least make sure that you're exerting a level of interest in them that makes them want to stay with you and tell other people about you. All right. Number 17, track your time like you track your money. Guys, this is very important. As a business owner, your main focus is should be getting sales in various different ways, whether that's getting a client, selling a product, whatever it is, getting sales. That's your main focus. If you're doing things that are taking away from that process, and these are things that you can get help to do, it's gonna cost you a lot more to not get that help than it's gonna cost you to get the help. You're looking at the fact that, oh, I'm gonna be paying out X amount of money to get somebody to come in to do a thing in my business that I could do myself. But you're missing out on the fact that with that time that you are no longer using to do that thing, you could literally go use to make more money to pay that person plus put more in your business. Like you have to be thinking long term and not just be thinking about just the financial gains, and you're not realizing that your time is being lost because you can always make more money. You can never get another second back. I'm gonna let that sink in. All right, so fast growth does not mean smart growth. You see, you hear they always have the saying you're going nowhere fast. You could literally be just exhausting yourself and just doing all the things, keeping up with the trends because you think that's what's supposed to happen, or you want to be an overnight success. And then your character is not fully ready to deal with that and you mess it up. So you want to be strategic, not just fast. All right, number 19. Hey, number 19. Separate your personal and business money from day one. Guys, listen. I feel something moving in my stomach when I say this because it's so important. It's so important. Like when you're starting your business and you just maybe you didn't have enough money to open a savings account, a business bank account, because they some of them do charge, right? So I'm not gonna even front on that. But you don't have the money to start the business account and you just put everything in your personal account. Okay, I'm gonna open a business account once the business takes off, and you're a year into the business after it's taken off and you've not opened a business account. This is not good, because when your bookkeeper comes in or your accountant comes in to sort that out, now we're gonna be having to go through all kinds of personal expenses to see what should go here, what goes here. It one, it's gonna cost you a lot more money, because now you're gonna have to do a cleanup. You're gonna have to do a cleanup. So you're not just talking about monthly bookkeeping anymore. You're talking about cleanups, right? Which, because now I'm gonna have to figure out which receipt goes to where, what goes to that, what goes to that. You need to have things separate, so we can just go in and just track everything for the business. We know exactly the amount of money that you spent on this amount of product, on that type of inventory, in on this expense, on this service, etc., etc. All of it needs to be tracked clear, because if it's not, it's not going to be presenting a accurate financial positioning of your business. Your income statement is going to be all over the place in terms of probably you're making more or you're making less. It's not going to be reflected on if everything is not really categorized and separated, right? You're running a business, not a hustle. Treat it like one. This next one, number 20, charge what you're worth, not what you think people will afford. Yes, you're doing business with customers and you want them to be able to pay you, but you are the business owner. You're the one doing the business. You're the one taking your energy to make sure that you create something of value. And I would pay for something of value once I know that it's of value to me, and other people will. And if they won't pay for it, maybe they're not even your ideal customers to begin with. You don't have to charge less just because. Like, I remember this one example where my dad had one of the products that he's selling, the price increased from where he normally buys it to resell, and he was thinking about raising up the price. But his one of his main concern was, you can't raise it up too much because some other people are not going to buy it, which I get. But the margin that he was putting on it was not even too much, and I was saying to him that it's your business. If you are not able to go and sell them tomorrow for whatever reason, and another person comes in to sell, and then another person is charging them twice the amount that you're charging, best believe they are going to buy if they need it. It's just because you've conditioned them to this certain level of price, they just probably won't support you because they probably think they should not be paying you that much. And if that's the type of customer that you have, you don't even want that type of customer in the first place. So charge what you're worth, just because you've really put in that effort to create something valuable for somebody, not just because you want their money or you want them to retain as a customer. The right people will stay, and you don't want the wrong people anyway. All right, so drop an emoji in the chat, above anything you want to drop, if this is helping you think differently about how you run your business. Like, I really want to see those comments going on down there. So now I'm going to move on to the next category, which is leadership and growth lessons. All right. So this first one is number 21. Doing right by people builds loyalty, not just contract. Do not overcharge your customers just because you can. We are people. We want to do business with people who are integrous. We're going to tell people, we're going to tell our friends, we're going to do that referral word of mouth thing that I'm talking about. We're going to do it when we feel valued in a customer or business relationship. We're going to do it when we feel like we got good service. So don't overcharge people just because you just want to make money. Do the right thing, show your integrity, and that will bring the right people back to you. All right. Number 22, say thank you and say it very often, especially to your team, especially to yourself. Like, appreciation goes a very long way. And when you're putting in a lot of effort and showing up, and people are showing up for you, appreciate them, make them feel valuable, make them feel like you literally couldn't do it without them, because you really couldn't. Because if you did, you would. And if you if you're not, then you can't. So make them feel important and special, and make yourself also feel that way, because really and truly you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you don't feel like what you're offering is valuable, and you are valuable, you're not gonna feel that inclined to be appreciated. So it really starts within. All right. 23. Chase principles, not trends. Goes back to the fact of when you're building your business, you have a certain values. You have certain values and certain principles that you adhere to as a person, but then also that you carry into your business. If you want to be a business owner who is going to coach, talk about, faith or money or business, whatever it is, right? But this new trend is to do hair or to do makeup. And you just go do all of that stuff just because it's just what's going on right now, neglecting what you actually felt like you were called to do. You know what that's going to do? That's going to leave you feeling unfulfilled because you're not showing up in a light that best represents yourself. So instead of chasing the trends that are going on there, make sure that you're chasing the things that actually fulfill you and carry out your divine calling, is what I'm saying. All right, number 24. Make what you do obvious, not vague. People should not be guessing about what you're offering. If you help people to make money, tell how do you help them to make money? Are you saving their money? Are you investing their money? Or how are you, if you're gonna help them to make $100,000, if you're gonna help them to grow in business, how are you gonna help them to grow? Like make it very, very plain and clear. It's like me saying to somebody, "Oh, I do bookkeeping." Not everybody understands what a bookkeeper is. Not everybody understands what a bookkeeper does. Even though it's an essential part of the business, it's not something that's always clear. But then I cannot. So it's for me. It's just like I help you keep your finances organized. I take the guesswork out of it. I make sure you don't have to worry about tracking what and what. Everything is structured and organized. I do the financial function for you so you can focus on your business. Clear and simple. All right, 25. Teach others what you know. Just like I come on this YouTube channel and I'm sharing with you 30 powerful tips that I learned from my dad, things that I've seen him just exude over this long and continuous entrepreneurship journey. And I want to share that with you so that if you have a business or know somebody who has a business, you can help them to be even more successful. If I decide I'm not going to share this, maybe you could get it from somebody else, but they don't have my father's 30 years of experience. They have different experiences, they have different knowledge. Everything that you have to share is unique and it does help somebody. And also, another way to think about this is if the person that you normally watch is not sharing what they know, how would you know it? It's kind of selfish. You learn something, you share it. Somebody learns something, they share it, and that's how information passes around, wisdom, knowledge, and that's how we get to the stages and the levels that we need to get to. 26. Silence doesn't mean they don't believe in you, and this one is something that I've been just wondering because sometimes I see that I'm offering something. I have friends from childhood, long time, all of that, and sometimes I don't hear them very loud cheering me on and so forth. But if you know that somebody's genuinely in your life, that does not mean that if they're being silent about it, they don't really support you. So, you know, to, yeah, maybe that's something personal, maybe it's not, but just wanted to drop that in there. 27. You don't need to go viral to win. Like I said, obviously, I'm not saying that my dad is like where he wants to be yet, but he doesn't have social media. He doesn't have anything, and he built his business out. And I know an employer of mine who also built their business out, no social media. Of course, going viral can help you, especially if you want to get to a certain audience, you want to connect with certain people. Maybe this would be the way that they found out about you. So it does help, but that's not the only way to win. If I put this live out right now and only one person watch it, I am satisfied. Of course, I would want a lot more people to get information, but if just one person gets it and that one person is helped, that one person can share it to somebody else, that is my job is done. So you just have to redefine what you think a win is and make it a practical win for you and not just what everybody thinks a win is because everybody wins looks different. All right, 28. Invest in others before asking for something. And I'm going to give a scenario, and I want you guys to just be honest with me in the comments and tell me what you think about it. If Somebody is always pouring into you, always giving you, always supporting you, always making sure that you get to the level that you want to get to. And then one day they ask for a favor. Wouldn't you be way more inclined to give that favor to them versus if they're constantly always asking, and not giving you anything and just want you to just always give them something? The first option is actually the option. You're going to want to give them. So it's the same thing. As a business owner, invest in your customers, invest in your clients, invest in them, give proper service, excellent communication, reliability, give them more than they've signed up for. Because you see, when we're talking about this referral thing, when you come to ask them for this referral, it's going to be a no-brainer that they're going to give it to you because you've been exceeding their expectation all this time and just offering a lot more value. All right. Number 29, do not be afraid to say, I don't know. We are all experts in our own fields. We're all experts in our own rights. We've put in a lot of work. We know a lot of stuff. All of us do know a lot of stuff. But let me tell you something. It's way more credible to say you don't know something than to give somebody misleading directions. Like your credibility will literally go all the way down for you providing information when that you don't really have the foundational knowledge about, than to just say I don't know, or I will find out and get back to you if it's something that you genuinely would like to help with. So it's not making you look weak if you say you don't know, because nobody's expecting you to know everything. And the person knew they wouldn't have asked, which means, you are allowed to say I don't know. All right. And this final one, build for purpose, not for likes. I think this kind of ties into the one where I talked about um not doing something just for trends, right? It's the same thing, right? You're building something that you believe in, something that you feel can help somebody, instead of just what's going to get you some views on your video, or just what you think is going to get you to 100,000 subscribers and likes, etc. All of that. And like I said, I'm not saying all of those things are not good, because if you're really off, when you're offering value to people, people are going to support you, people are going to come around. So you're going to achieve those goals anyway. But you're not leading with just doing something just to get an outcome. You're focusing on the input, making sure that what you're putting out is actually something that's valuable and beneficial to anybody that will be listening to you. All right, so tell me in the chat, which lesson are you taking into your business this week? I'm going to read every single comment, so you don't have to think it's too much for me. I'm literally going to be reading, because I really do appreciate you guys taking your time out to listen to me all the way throughout this video. All right. And now I'm going to be talking about, remember I said at the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing the best advice I've ever gotten, and just a story that really is owned in the fact that you are starting this business by yourself and you're going to be doing everything by yourself. But the end goal should never be to have it completely rely on you, especially if you're thinking about legacy and forward building. All right. One day when I was younger, I was outside washing my hand at the pipe. My dad was getting ready to go to the market. So, because he was going to the market, he was picking some star apple. That's a fruit. So he climbed the tree, he's up in the tree. I'm at the pipe and I hear a poof. So I froze, because I was like, what in the world was that? And then after I stood there for a while, I just hear shh, shh, shh. So I ran down to the tree where my dad was to see if he was okay. When I went down there, I saw so much of the tree on the floor, and I didn't see my dad. So I walked around the branches looking at everything to see what's going on there. And that's when I realized he was between the branches, and some of the branches were on him. I couldn't take him up. He just laid there. He was looking, but I saw that he was moving, so I know that he was okay, but not okay, because he just fell all the way from the top of a tree. And so one of my neighbors rushed over, helped him up, and some others came and helped him up to our house, and he sat on the veranda. And when he got up, I saw his foot going like this. It was broken. What do you do when your job is to walk and sell and your foot is broken? All of your income, all of your bills are reliant on that one income. All your responsibilities are reliant on that one income. And of course your customers are relying on you, but the customers may find somebody else to buy from, but you need money to pay those bills. So he went to the hospital that same day. They transferred him to the surgical unit and started out his foot and everything. A couple of days later he came back home. And the first night he came home, he could not sleep. He was just on the bed, tormenting, asking me every minute to fix his foot and all of that. And I could see on him that he was just so underwhelmed. I don't know if underwhelmed is the word, but he was just so like frustrated. But of course, he's not telling me I was smaller, so we didn't have that conversation. But I could literally just see him in front of my eye, like he was just like, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" type of reaction. So what actually happened was, before his foot even healed, he had to go back to sell. My brother had to stop going to school on Fridays so that he could push him around in the wheelchair. And he had brought the crutch stick and he would stand up and walk to some of the customers. And he had to do that prematurely because he didn't have any other way to get the money than him going to get the money. And that very simple experience taught me that you should never have your business completely reliant on you like that, especially if it's your only source of income. And Eva basically gave me this one advice, and I'm going to share with you. Like, listen, you need to pay attention to this. And I really hope somebody writes it down in a comment for those of you who missed it. But listen, he said to me, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to do entrepreneurship full time, let me tell you this. This is something I regret, and this is something that I'm going to tell you, right? Keep your 9 to 5 of a stable income coming in and build your business on the side, because that way you're not completely reliant on that business 100%, especially when it's in the embryo stage. You have your personal stable 9 to 5 income that's going to sustain you and keep you throughout until you build the business up to the level where it can manage you being leaning on it full time, right? And that has just been something that stayed with me. It really shifted and shaped the way that I thought about entrepreneurship. Because honestly, if I didn't see that, I probably would have been a full time entrepreneur, and I probably would have been struggling because just like, I mean, maybe not, you don't know, but just having that thought process in my mind, it just really shaped the way that I think. If I'm doing entrepreneurship, I'm still gonna be able to keep my job and make sure that I have a solid foundation before I go out. Because I probably would have been out already and just trying to figure it out, but following directly. But I am glad I paid attention to that, and if that can be valuable to you of any sort, I hope you take it and have it inform how you're gonna show up for your business. Is what I was saying. All right, so if you've ever gotten a piece of advice that shaped you and shaped your entrepreneurship journey, share it in the chat. Let's all learn from each other. I share what I've learned. Maybe you can share something with me that is very different and eye opening, and I would love to hear that. So put it in the comments below. That was a lot. I know I shared a lot, but I hope it was rich. I hope it has you turning just like it had me turning to release it. I hope it gets you turning when you're showing up for your business. All right, I just want to thank each and every one of you for spending some time of your night with me or day or whenever you're watching it. So this is whether you're watching live or the replay. I appreciate you and I see you. If you've gotten any value from this video tonight, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with someone who could benefit and who's building like you. All right, and if you're ready to kind of just see where this journey goes, the wins, the setbacks, all of it, stick around because I'm building with you, right? So comment, I am building. If you're in this one along all, and I see you, I believe in what you do. And just remember, we're not just building businesses, we're building legacies. So I'll see you in the next one.